Hey everybody, welcome to just a fun little video we're doing kind of in the meantime to kill time until more stuff comes out about BT30. They start reveals and stuff like that. I was really banking on them dropping something this week, and unfortunately they didn't. Last Friday was when we saw the new 13 promos. I believe it was Monday when they dropped the trailer and kind of updated the site a little bit as well. And then this week came and went and we got nothing. This past Friday, so yesterday came and we got nothing except some more regional dates and stuff, which is cool, in Peoria and other places. I'm in Minnesota, so Peoria is really cool. I'm gonna really try to make that one. But just in general, we didn't get anything. And so we're now under 6 weeks until the set release for Three Glorious Fighters, BT30. And it just feels like we're probably going to get something this week. But in the meantime, let's do something fun. So today, we're just going to take a look at 4 pet decks of mine that they're essentially just leaders that I always have like their core sleeved up. They're always leaders I go back to when new support comes out, like generic support for the color, or just really any support that could potentially work with them. And yeah, again, for fun, we're just going to go over these things. If you guys like them, that's fantastic. If you have questions, please put them in the comments below. If you do like videos like this, where I kind of just go over casual stuff from a non-competitive outlook, then cool, even better. But let's go ahead and get into this. And as you can probably see, the first leader we have here is the very first Super 17 leader. Now, if you guys don't remember what this leader does, on the front is a on attack burst 2 to draw, and you awaken at 4 or less life because it's like a set 6 leader and everything was 4 or less life. So that's kind of the bad part, right? Is there's no early awakening. You don't awaken at 5, 6, whatever. You unfortunately are going to be a 10K leader until you're at 4. But when you flip, if this allows me to, yep, okay. When you do flip, so your on attack auto changes to sparking 5, which should be something you always have because you were just bursting 2 with every attack on the front side. And when you do have sparking 5, you draw 1 and your leader gains critical for the turn. So this is a 15K crit leader that draws, which is great. But the big thing that keeps people, especially me, coming back to this leader is its activate main, which is that if your opponent has 10 or more cards in hand, your opponent places cards from their hand in their drop area until they have 9 cards left. Now, I don't know if you've noticed about any deck that's really good right now or is any good. They have to draw a certain amount of cards, right? If you don't draw a certain amount of cards, your draw power is not good enough. You just flat out can't hang with a lot of the decks because the best decks draw. Okay, so to essentially take the mindset of like seriously anti-meta. Anti-meta is, okay, well, how do we counteract the meta decks? Well, the meta decks draw. How do we stop them from gaining the value and resources that make them have such a high floor, right? And that's get rid of their big ass hand. So this activate main, again, is if your opponent has 10 or more, they discard down to 9. This is not a once per turn activate main. This is something you can literally keep doing until the end of your turn, to make sure that when your opponent starts their next turn, they draw 1 to 10, and then if they want to charge, they go back down to 9, right? So this puts a cap, essentially, on how many cards your opponent will ever start their turn with. I think most decks keep an 11, 12, 13, even 14 card hand sometimes because of how much they draw. Now, why I like this leader so much, and again, this skill not being once per turn, is you can like mess with your opponent, right? Where it's you swing with something that's not your leader, right? That's not critical, and they take a life from 9 to 10. Then you just say discard that 1 card, no energy involvement, right? The immediate, you start your turn, and you go, okay, discard out of 9. Okay, so you start your turn that way, you end your turn that way, always to make sure they're as low as possible. And then again, because you can do this immediately without any energy investment, it becomes, okay, whatever they're at, go down to 9, and then you just start spending your energy and playing all your cards that do discard cards. So it's the new green CR, it's Ribrian if you want to run that, it's the 5K crit Goku, it is Armed Force Cooler, like it's all these things. It's Solidarity, right? It's Purunga SCR. So essentially, you are just able to get them down to 9 and then start making them discard. So if you it's later in the game, you hit them down to 9, and then you play Purunga SCR and you make them discard 3 and you draw 3 for 2 energy, right? That's a pretty big swing. You play the new green CR, have them discard another one. Anything else, right? Like, it's just really good. You can feasibly get really close to making your opponent discard their whole hand when you get to like those later turns of the game, when you use that Purunga SCR, right? It's down to 9, it's -3, they're down to 6, and then it's just picking their hand apart. And if they're trying to not die or not, get too low in life, they're giving you cards from their hand in combos, right? So this is sick. I think it's just always going to be something that you can go back to. The more green gets, more hand destruction, more defense as well, because that's what green needs. So let's go ahead and get into it. That's enough of the leader. So our little 1-drop package here, and I should start this out with, this is a green good stuff deck. Like, there's no archetype here with this leader anymore. So I'm essentially trying to run it with Bardock Unison, right? Bardock is a Unison to draw, give your stuff blockers, and then he gains markers when your blockers are removed and stuff like that. So you're just trying to play this defensive game, mid-range game, tempo a little bit to win you like survive, and then turn the tables on your opponent, discard their whole hand, and then try to finish them with some of your big, good green stuff, okay? So this is like the Sand Earthling package that I'm running. The Vegeta, it's the silver bullet, but it has barriers. So when your Bardock Unison gives it a blocker, you do have this barrier blocker that your opponent has to worry about. I am running the Krillin Gohan from Nameku. So these are the ones that when you play it from your hand, you either draw one or you go get the other one. Why I kind of liked throwing this in there is because, 1, it filters through your deck, and then 2, they play each other out. And then there's another effect of is auto limit one that when, so like this Krillin says, when the Gohan important roll gains blocker, this card gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn as well. So playing these out and then giving one of them blocker from your Bardock Unison is going to give the other one blocker. So it's a 1 energy investment for 2 blockers. While I understand there's no barrier or defense for these guys, they're 4Ks, whatever, it's still just like bodies and combo power on board and things your opponent has to worry about, or they kind of just build up, right? So if your opponent's not getting rid of them, they're blocking. If you don't need to block, then there's the energy fodder and stuff like that. So that's kind of why I like these 3 and 3 of each of them, because you can go get them. And then this other one, I got to learn how to use this function a little bit better. This Bulma came out with Adventure. This one had the SPR of it as well. So it's a counterplay, play in rest mode. When it's in rest mode, it gains barrier. Its auto is limit 1, that if this card is in rest mode, when your opponent uses one of their skills to add a card from their deck to their hand, your opponent discards a card from their hand. So basically, if your opponent swings the leader and draws, this makes them discard. If they play a card that draws with their cost or on play auto draws, your opponent discards 1. So this is just limit 1, so it's just the 1 time per turn. But this is just another like annoying thing to do when your opponent's deck well enough that turn 2 they play a card that says on play draw 1, do whatever, and you leave an energy up knowing that they're going to do that, and you just go, yeah, we're not going to let you start building that hand just yet. So you keep an energy up, counterplay it. This comes in, they draw a card, but they have to discard another one, or they're gonna have to. They always swing with their leader right to draw, so you get this on the board at some point before their leader swings, and they're gonna have to discard a card after they draw. So it's a Earthling, so it can get blocker from the Bardock Unison if your opponent doesn't swing into it immediately, right? But the thing is, if they swing into it, then it still soaks up an attack. I just think it's worth trying. I'm not super sold on this one, but in terms of making this deck as annoying as possible, I really wanted to give this a go. Next up, 2 of the Majin Buu Unison. This is the Spirit Boost 2 free negate. We're going to be running that Z Unison. It's kind of the whole part of the deck. So any free negates in green are a good thing. 3 the KP negate, of course, it's 20k blocker. It's online really fast because you're bursting 2, so this becomes a 4 to a 1 very, very fast. It's also a Unison hater, pop something 5 or less. Good card. Some more Sands / Earthlings. The Nameku 4-cost SR. Give it blocker. It can restand. It gets stronger. when it's gone, when someone gets rid of it, you pop something else. So again, board control type stuff, love it. Gohan, same thing. When you can play it on your opponent having two or more energy. So it's 7 or less removal very early. It's a double strike. Your opponent gets rid of anything, it can restand as a blocker, so it forces them to get rid of it as well. It also has double strike, so of course, why not? They're going to try to get rid of it. Now, this is something for me because I want Cooler Arm Force to be a much more playable card than it is, because it costs 2 in green, right? It's not worth it. You don't get full value unless you have a Z card in play with a cost of 2, which sucks because, again, that's really hard. But when you have SS3 Tyrant Broly, this becomes a lot easier because Tyrant can become a 1 energy play. So in slower games, you getting to throw down Broly and then being able to play this and then get 2 20k double swings and then either popping something and or discarding a card from your opponent's hand is very good. So this is me just, there's probably better cards, more efficient. I just really want to make this work. So in the Z deck, I'm running like 3 to 4 of that Broly Tyrant because that's just what we want to do. Here's the new Piccolo from the TN deck. So it's a 1 energy if you have 3 or more energy, so you can play it fairly early. It's just a base 20k, but it's going to activate main to choose one of your battle cards and KO it to pop one of your opponent's battle cards. And then additionally, if you popped a Son Gohan or Son Goku or Earthling card, which is KO'd by this skill, so that's you or your opponent's, your opponent discards 1, and then this card gains 5k in dual attack. So it's a pressure card that does discard a card from your opponent's hand, and it works well in this because we have, you know, Earthling, some Goku cards. Your opponent's probably playing some Goku cards. Like the chances of it just being at its best are fairly high, and I did want to include it. Again, also a 1 energy card that can discard a card. That's kind of like the theme here is how much can we get them to discard per 1 energy spent? And I think Piccolo fits that mold. For the new CR, just such a good card. 1 energy, 25k, pops a 6 or less, and your opponent discards a card. It doesn't play the turns obviously used, but you're going to get it at a later turn. Saves your opponent from like getting rid of it immediately early in a turn where its swing doesn't really matter. You get to use it when your swing matters a little bit more. I kind of went over that in a previous video about these concept rares. Love this card. 4 of it. Just play it. 3 of the Goku. I believe it's the Champ Pack promo. This is the one that it plays itself again after you combo with it. So you can like play it, and on play, it gets rid of a Z card, a Z energy, excuse me, which is super annoying depending on the deck you're playing. If you're trying to build Z energy to play something later in the game, this is really, really, really annoying because twice per turn it can rip a Z energy, because the auto of when it's played to rip a Z energy is not limit 1 or once per turn. The only limit 1 is on its ability to play itself a second time. So I'm throwing 3 of these in there. It's a very good card. Also, it's a Goku for getting the most out of this Piccolo. 3 Solidarity. Duh. Very good card. Now, 3 of this one. This is one that you can either take out and or lower its the amount in the deck, because it's not the best card, but it is a 1 energy play still, right? And its effect is that if you have, I believe it's a when this card attacks, first off, just flat out when it attacks, you can rip 2 markers off of Unison. Unisons are kind of a big deal, I think, in the current meta. So this is a good card. And then it's also got a once per turn when one of your green sand cards deals damage to your opponent. Choose one. Pop a battle card, or your opponent discards 1. You can only play it if you have a Z extra in your battle area, but more than likely with this deck, like turn 1 or as soon as possible, you're just throwing down the green Z extra because it's just defense for later, and it gets a lot of stuff online. So this card is not too bad. You could probably go down to 2 or 1, because if there's some games where you just can't get that Z extra out, this card's not going to feel as good. So just another 1 energy play that can discard a card, and it's a 30k stick on 1 energy. It's not bad. 2 of the Bojack Tournament Assault. Again, 1 energy, 30k swing, that pops a card on play. Good card. It's also an 8. So if you guys know what's probably coming is the successor Gogeta. So we need 8s. 8 on Solidarity, 8 on this guy, 8 on this guy. 2 of these because you don't want any more dead cards in your hand than you have to in a deck like this. Discard 2. Double strike. Very, very good card for 1. You're discarding a lot of cards per 1 energy spent with these cards. So gotta include them. Purunga. I just think this card swings. games in certain moments quite a bit, because you could have even hand totals. Your opponent has more cards in hand. Your opponent maybe has a bunch of good cards in their hand. They don't want to get rid of any of them. A draw 3 -3 to your opponent is very good. And also in a defensive game where you haven't been able to remove as many things as possible, it's also got a board wipe wrapped in. So draw 2, discard 2, board wipe, also very good. If you need to tap out your opponent because maybe a solidarity is about to go crazy if your opponent can't negate it, also an option there. Extras: 4 dormant, 2 Hami, 2 Dende's healing power. Sometimes you just need to hard negate, and you want hard negates that draw you cards. So Dende fits that mold. This is the deck. I like it a lot. We've got 3 more to go to. That one kind of took a little bit because I was talking about the leader a little too much. But here's the deck. Take a look at it. It's great. On to the next one. This is set 15, extra card Broly. I love this leader so much. It just sucks that it had the really bad permanent that you can't play non-Broly battle cards in it. But it's fun because you get to activate battle skills on red extras with the cost of 3 or less from your drop on attack with your leader. So you do draw 1, and then you have cards that give it double, barrier, that give it a huge power boost. Again, all for 0 energy investment. It's just that then when you use them from your drop like that, they go to your warp. And then it's going to activate battle, so none of your red extra cards are bricky. They all can be pitched for 5k as many times as you need to for any battle. Okay. 4 of the cantrip. It's just turn 1 play, see it, Z energy. The new Bio Broly Z battle card is very, very good, and you want to be able to play it in any deck that you can. And if this has too many extras, right, you're not Z charging too many things. So you're probably only playing like 1 thing from your Z deck at a time. These are going to be, draw, Z energy fodder. You need them. And then some of the new Broly cards that we got from this newest set. 2 of the blocker that minuses a 15. Blocker just isn't the best thing in the world, especially when you're not giving this thing barrier, but it is 15k or less removal, and still a card to play on turn 2 and grab a red card, which again is a very good search skill. 4 of the good one that's 20k and pops a 20k or less, right? 20ks are more important to get rid of than 15s. Also, you're searching cards. You can play it on when you have 2 or more energy, just an early turn play. This deck just needed more Broly names, and we got some more Broly names. So 2 of the blocker, 4 of the non-blocker, 4 of accelerating power, because as a defensive weapon, you're able to place 3 cards from under this card and their owner's drop. Now, you're not automatically doing this with this deck because it's a leader ability on the new one that allows you to do that. But it is a body that draws, and then in combination with the lab card that will obviously include here because it is a Broly card. It's searchable and it does some good things. You can put 3 under here, so you can play this, pitch the lab, and then you have a free instance of 15k right on the defensive side if you're not trying to floodgate or just simply don't have your floodgate. This is the TP that came out for the deck some time ago. If you have 4 more red extras in your drop and you discard a red extra out from your hand when this card attacks, you do draw 2, so it's good filter, and you minus 1 thing 25. That's a good number. We like that. You can play when you have 3 or more energy. New SR, such a good card. You're drawing, I wish I could view this correctly. You're drawing, you're popping a 35 or less, and then you get 3 placed under it with its effect, and then you can swing a second time for 30, or you can minus something through barrier 30. Again, removal. This is a turtle deck for the most part. You're just kind of stalling until your opponent just like runs out of negates, basically. This is such a great card. Such a great card. Of course, we have to run 4 of it. And then for the Sparking Super Combo, this is the original that came with the deck. Don't need anything else. We are running the Broly SCR because otherwise there was almost no SCR for this deck. It was the old SS4 one, the Great Destroyer. No, this thing's crazy. This is such a good card for what this deck needed. You have to run it. Defensive, hand rip, going for game. It's going to do everything. Getting into the extras, Gigantic Meteor. It's a plus 25 if used on top of a Broly battle card or leader, or it is a pop things that add up to a total of 30k power, which isn't that good anymore. You maybe get 1, maybe 2 things, but for the most part, this is just a 25k defensive card, or offensive, like 1 energy, 25k is a lot. It's freezes death ball, but you could do this for free off the leader scale, so we like this. 3 the demonic barrier. This is +5 in crit for the turn. You can use a defensively to bean your leader as well. Again, in a defensive deck, your hand's not full of 5ks, even though your extras do turn into 5ks. You're still trying to not have to pitch as many cards as you don't have to if you don't have a floodgate. So barrier, 3 of those, crit, doubles, like you can pair these things, right? Playtime is draw 1, give a Broly double, including leader or battle cards. If you time it right, do 1 for free, pay 1 energy for the other, your opponent doesn't have a negate for the leader swing. All of a sudden you're at 15, 20, 30 double crit with 1 energy investment between these 2 cards if it lines up that way. And that's going to hurt if your opponent can't do anything about it. 2 of the Fearsome Destroyer. I'm debating adding this one because this is a 2 energy play that says if your opponent wants to counter, right, they have to pitch 2 cards from their hand. Well, the whole point of the deck is that you're swinging like big things if you swing your leader at all, right? Like your leader's always a negate check, because if they don't, then your leader swing is going to get bigger and have better keywords and stuff like that. So to pay 2 for Fearsome and then threaten, 25, 30, whatever, double, crit, what have you, on your leader swing is huge, because like they don't want to deal with that, so they'll hard negate it, but they'll lose those 2 cards, right? But if they don't negate it, they're still probably losing at least 2 cards because of how big that attack gets. So I may run more of them. It also has the secondary skill of giving one of your red Broly battle cards 10 for the turn. I'm not really sure what you'd use it on besides the SR, since it can swing twice, maybe actually nothing else. Yeah, so you probably never really use that secondary skill, just for the hand rip effect. Other extras that aren't for the archetype, basically 2 testing, okay, defense, 2k VIP, iffy on this because sometimes it feels good, sometimes it just doesn't. Sometimes you simply want to end the turn, so this can go down to 1, maybe even be a side deck card depending on the matchup. 4 E-Dance, of course, got to stop your opponent from swinging. 3 of the lab. It is a 0 to do the tuck effect. Otherwise, it's a 1 energy, grab 2 Broly cards off the top. So an extra turn 1 play if you just don't have the body. Unfortunately, you don't get the Z energy fodder, but it is what it is. Still a good card, searchable from any card that grabs a Broly, because it just has a permanent that gives it that. This is the Krillin SR extra. So none of this matters up top because you're not a Krillin leader or anything like that. You don't have any of these names. But again, you're trying to be defensive and trying to survive. This has the activate main to pay 2, you draw 1, and then you can minus something through barrier 25. There are some good cards that have barrier that are 25k or less power. This helps you get rid of it, right? One of the biggest things of this deck before some of this new support was that it just didn't have barrier removal. It just didn't have enough removal in general. And then normally if you had to fit in that type of removal from some other source, you also weren't drawing with it. So some of these new extras from Krillin are great because they attach the word draw 1 card, 3 words, excuse me, on it while also doing something that the deck needed. So I have 3 of these. Yeah, just because it's a good card. It gets rid of, problem cards that your opponent's playing. This is one of the things that you just like side in or out depending on what the matchup is, because sometimes your opponent simply doesn't have barrier cards that really matter. So you'd rather just play other cards because this does cost 2. So you're not using it super early. But otherwise, I really like it. It's a good card. 1 Destructo Disc. This is just making your opponent's board smaller in general. It's -10 to everything, and then your opponent chooses the next thing. Your opponent chooses one of their battle cards, ignoring barrier, and it gets a -25. So the point is you're trying to clear like everything else out. So when your opponent is having to choose their card to -25 through barrier, there's only 1 card left, and it's the card that you want them to choose. That's kind of the sequence problem with this. But when you've got Destructo Disc paired with, Broly minusing stuff, this Broly minusing stuff, this Broly popping 20Ks or less, you have combos to force your opponent to get rid of that barrier card. So I just think this is a good card. You may minus, this down to 2, this up to 2, and just trying to change these depending on the matchup again, messing with your side deck. This is one of the new extras from Krillin as well. So the first one doesn't matter because you're not a Krillin leader. But this is a 1 energy, draw 1 bean for your leader. Now, there's been cards like this, right? There's a negate that negates an attack, beans your leader. There's a Krillin's or a Corrin's, literally like Senzu Bean, whatever extra from a while ago, a draft box that does the same thing, but none of those draw. This is still a 1 energy, 5k, draw 1. So if your opponent is swinging 15, which sometimes they simply just do, this is still pay 1, bean, negate, draw. So think of it as a draw negate, but then you get that 5k over every single attack. So again, it just makes it easier to survive with 1 card, gaining you resources and value across each attack that comes. And then finally, 2 of the Scouter destroyed. I haven't tested enough to really understand if this is as good as it seems, but if you aren't removing stuff as well as you'd like, for whatever reason, you just haven't seen it, being able to pay an energy and potentially stop 3 attacks is good, at least towards your leader, which is the only thing that matters. Really. So negate the attack, choose up to 2 of your opponent's cards, and they can't attack leader cards for the turn. So it doesn't matter. If they have 3 things that can attack when they attack with their first card, you stop all of it from attacking your leader. I just think that's good. It gets around, Unison's getting through it, certain battle cards getting through it, whatever it is, leaders getting through it, any type of floodgate. It stops 2 things no matter what. So I really like this. Might be sided out depending on the matchup, but I like it. That's Red Extra Broly. Still fine-tuning it. I like this deck so much. I want it to be playable. Obviously, it's not going to be the best ever. None of these things are going to be the best ever, but they're going to be fun if you like weird and kooky decks like these. Third one is Yellow Android 13, Evolution Booster. This is a deck that I think me and maybe one other guy like, and it's so much fun. And it's been fun forgetting about it and then realizing that yellow and then like some green yellow stuff has come out in the past year or so that are very good. And so immediately this makes this deck a little bit more playable. For those of you who don't know, the leader on the front is you pitch a green or yellow android to draw 2, which is great. You awaken at 5 or less, and you have to have a 14 and 15 card in your drop area. You draw 1, restand 1. So it's a little complicated, but that's why you have to run enough 14 and 15s to get this thing to go off. Luckily, there are some cards that do just make that easier. So on attack, draw 1, and then you got a once per turn so this is both once per turn on either player's turn. When one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode is placed into its owner's drop by one of your skills, your opponent chooses 1 card in their hand and discards it. So it's yellow with some hand destruction. And then an activate battle is place a 15 and a 14 card from your drop, send them to your warp, and then you can choose your leader or an android card, and it gets 5k power for the battle. So it's just a once per turn bump 5k. It's kind of meaningless. Kind of helps if you're going for game. You need an extra 5k defensively, but it's not the biggest deal. The biggest deal is getting the most out of his second auto to make your opponent discard cards. So first and foremost, for some of the 15-14 names, we have the 1-drop 15, 15. It is either a cantrip or on play, you can rest one of your opponent's battle cards, which is just in general any card, no matter cost, which helps set up your leader. But then if that card has an energy cost of 2 or less, you KO it. So if you're flipped and your opponent is playing like cantrips or cheap things that end up just sitting on the board, this card just simply KOs it, and you get to discard that way. So this is for your opponent's chump blockers. For cantrips, they just, play to gain value before passing. This card helps them hurt from that. Android Troop, literally just pitch it, draw 1. So it gets the dual names in your drop immediately. And then this is a little bit of a green-yellow deck, so we are running the cards that are free combos if your leader is a 13 or yellow or what have you. So this is a free 5k multicolor. It is a 14 and 15 name, so it fits exactly what the deck needs. Early pitch, fodder, it's combo fodder. You're not really playing it for 2 because its effect just isn't that good. It's search top 10 for a 13 card and play it with a cost of 4 less. Who cares? 3 of the Vegeta Prideful Transformation, the free blocker counterplay. You're basically trying to get Tapion Unison out immediately and then just gain value from the control that allows you to do by like not letting your opponent untap certain cards. So to get the most out of running a yellow Unison, right, we're going to run the counterplay. And we're popping cards in rest mode, so we just simply need the cards that pop cards in rest mode. So we got Janemba in the Big Iron deck, Big Iron Broly. It's a 1 energy 15k dual attack that draws 1, and this deck wants to draw because it's a little bit of an arrival deck, so you're losing cards from your hand. This is a good card. It's also barrier removal, so you do pay an extra energy when it's played to pop something through barrier in rest mode again, proccing the leader. We like this a lot. It gains 5k as well, no matter, or each time you pay that additional energy. So some turns, man, maybe you're paying 2, 3, and you're just trying to board clear with this thing and then fall back on a Nimbus, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Tuluk Sin Shenron Cold Hearted, just very good card. You are putting stuff in your drop through the leader, right? So this thing gets online pretty dang quickly. And depending on the matchup, this thing can drive the bus for you. Good card. Why not include it? 2 Stoic Fist. So you pitch this with a card that has 15 on it. You can take up to 2 life. So if you want to get down to 5 as quick as possible, this allows you to do that. And then you draw 1 and your opponent discards 1. So a little extra hand destruction, another name to get out of your skills. And then 4 of Cybernetic Onslaught 13. So this is a free multi-charge when you have 3 or more androids in your drop. Other than that, it is simply a free multi-combo. If you do play it, it's just a 15k body, but it has an activate battle that when you combo with an android card, you can add 5k combo power to it, which isn't the worst thing in the world because, spoiler, we run the green-yellow cell at a couple copies here, so it can be a 10k. If this is on board for whatever reason, it's a plus 15. You're almost never doing that. This is really just a name and a free combo. Multi-combo, excuse me, because we do need to see enough of that to get the most out of some of these other cards. Speaking of that, decided to die. It seems to be a problem with that recently, if you guys saw my Red 13 reveal video. But we're back in action. All right, we love Purunga. We absolutely love it. Draw 3, discard 3. Moving on, 3 Nimbus, of course. 2 Time Magic. 1 Release from Evil. Being able to, again, negate stuff. So this, in combination with the trick of getting them with the Turleys here, is huge. Because your opponent goes, okay, I remember Turleys as a card, and if I swing a barrier card here, he can't get me with it. No, I'm going to Release from Evil. So essentially, they're not going to like get God, because once I do this, they're not going to dump on that card anymore. But it just is another thing to make your opponent go, damn, okay, I got more to worry about. So I like it. Just a 1 of. It's cheeky. I think this is a really good place for the deck right now. Again, not super competitive, but fun. I can't quit this deck. It's never going to be de-sleeved. Someday the yellow stuff and green stuff will be so good that this deck just has to be good as well. Last but not least, this was in a gameplay video recently, but it's SS2 Gohan from Supreme Rivalry. And this is getting a little long, so we're going to go a little fast here. The new promo sets yourself up perfectly. Get a skillless energy, get one of the energy fortification cards in your hand. Great. 2, 2, 4. Sometimes a hard negate is just really good to have. Just an extra fortification for the effect. For the TN, because it's the true draw one. We like that. 3 of the Pilaf Trio. Good card. 3 of Android 17. Of course, we need it. Skillless. I just run the classic skillless, the Trunks and Gohans. I think these cards are so sick. You could run like Vegeta and Goku's and then do like some of the soaring blows stuff that I've seen people add. I just don't care. I want to run these specifically. These are so cool. I love the BoJack movie, hence the channel name. So I'm going to use these guys. You can't tell me anything. 1 of the once per game negate. It's just a free negate. It's not a bad thing to have. Only run 1. It is an oh shit button. Just, you might as well run 1. 2 Heroic Prospect. You're probably throwing a Android 18, a Dabura Unison, a Go Freezer early on, depending on the matchup. Play 2, side another one. Good card in this meta. For the promo. Duh. This card is so insane. So you basically pay 2 to play a skillless straight from your energy. And then if you do, you play this card from your hand, and then you add the top card of your deck to your energy. Okay, so this is a restand in and of itself. You pay 2, play this in another 20k, and then you re-ramp, replace itself in active mode. That's insane. And then on top of that, you have your leader effect, right? Which is once per turn, I should have gone over the leader, but we're kind of crunched for time here. When you swing, you draw 1, pick up a battle card, or a card from your energy, and you put down a blue battle card. You cannot put down an extra for what it's worth. So we are running for this because it's such a good card. Its activate main is limit 1. Return 1 of your skills battle cards with energy cost of 2 to its owner's hand. You choose which one of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost greater than or equal to their current energy and place it at the bottom of its owner's deck. So people play big stuff early. You return the skillless to your hand, so you protect it. If you do need it for a later turn, you get a card back to hand right after you swing with it, and you remove something on your opponent's board. Very, very good. 2 of the new Cooler SR, just on play, draw 2, discard 1. Return something to your opponent's hand. That's whatever. It's still removal. It's not the best, right? It's not bottom deck, but it's good filter. It's a 25k on a stick. Why not? 3 of the Broly. Duh. Pressure. Play it early. Play it often. You're a restand 1 leader, once per turn. So playing things that cost more than 1 energy feel a lot better in this deck because you're able to still have 1 more up on the crackback than most blue decks would. So 3 of this really helps close games out. Love it. This is kind of a new ad for me. So this is the Vegeta that, if I can flip this correctly, you pay 2, so okay, whatever, but it's a 35k dual attack, right? If you have 3 or more energy, play it. Its permanent is that if this card's attack would be negated by a skill on one of your opponent's cards, you may choose a Z card in your battle area or unison area and remove it from the game. So in terms of like kind of outing an opponent's negate and or floodgate, this is good. Again, with your leader restanding 1, you just think of this as a 1 energy 35 duel, like base foundational wise, And then if you're going for game and you know your opponent wants to like slam down whatever floodgate or hard negate first to save themselves, you just play this out. And if you had the Z extra made earlier in the game, you just get rid of that. Or if you're later in the turn and your unison has already attacked, Z battle card already attacked, you just pitch it with this, right? I just think it's a really cool card to push through some of your opponent's like last few defenses to try and survive. So it's just a one of, it's just for finishing the game. You're never really playing it earlier, so one card is enough. One of the SGR, just a good utility card. It's 3 energy, triple attack, 20k. Again, restand 1 liter, doesn't feel as bad. Only 2 of the big Gohan. I have this at 3, and I found it bricking just a little bit too much for my liking. You're maybe, and this is like a maybe, you're only playing this once. So 3 just kind of seemed weird. It is a 1 plus 10k in hand, so it can be a dead card. It is the combo of this and this on the same turn. So I just decided to polish it a little bit by taking 1 out. If I play it, it doesn't, if I don't play it, it doesn't mean that I just like have a much higher chance of losing. And if I play it, I wouldn't even say it raises your chances of winning all that much. It's just a good card that you can play cheaper now. And so I'm keeping it at 2. I do like it. The SPR is beautiful. You can't tell me anything. 1 Zeno, just for energy manipulation, getting a card from your energy that you want out of there if you ramp your SCR or anything like that. Just one to kind of fix those things. I may run 2-2 with the other one, but right now I'm at 3 Vegeta. Just good draw super combo. 2-2 is probably correct because I'm probably a little greedy, only playing 1 in it with a deck that puts cards in my energy from the top of my deck. So we should probably fix that. Beast Gohan SCR. Duh. I'm kind of a blue aggro deck, not really, but in terms of like a kill turn, this sure puts the gas on. 2 Bean, 4D Magic, 2 UI Kamehameha. This could be Beerus Destroys depending on the meta, depending on the matchup. Just good combo power, good pushing power. I liked it a lot the last few games I've played, so that is that. And yep, that is it. I obviously did not go through Z deck and side deck or anything like that. I think Z decks for the most part are pretty straightforward. These are all kind of like generic decks in terms of like there's no archetype Z cards that they need. So this is it. This has been my 4 fun pet decks that I've been working on recently. I hope you enjoyed them. Maybe they gave you new ideas. Maybe they've inspired you to push through with some of your own pet decks. Go back and update some really bad decks that you just can't quit. You know, if I've convinced you to do that, then you know what, that's a good thing. So appreciate you guys stopping in the video. Hopefully we get BT30 reveals this week or this Friday because I'm tired of waiting. So thank you so much, and we'll see you in the next one.